Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Fabrizio Romano here as always to keep you posted on the transfer market, and today guys we have to talk about several topics because there are big news, big bombas, and as always ready to keep you updated with it. So we jump into it together and we have to start. It's really early morning here in the US, 6 a.m. in the morning, but the big bomba is here and we are here to deliver, and it's about one of the most interesting midfielders in Premier League, and also about Manchester United, because in a surprising move made today, Manchester United paid the release clause for Yuri Tielemans, and it's a here we go. So Manchester United, in a completely unexpected and surprising move, in few hours closed the deal for Yuri Tielemans. But let's recap what happened and let's enter into the details of this story. Because my understanding is that Manchester United decided to go all in for Yuri Tielemans as soon as they got last week the feeling on the Ederson deal not happening anymore. Exclusive story on Friday, I told you here, I told you on all my channels, Ederson is no longer going to Manchester United. The communication was sent to Atalanta, the communication was sent to the agent of the player. Already on Friday night, Ederson left England. He was between Manchester and London to do two different parts of medicals. Then he left England, he went on holiday, and Atalanta, as I told you in a video yesterday, already offered him a new contract for the next 5 years to show trust in the player, because Atalanta are convinced that Ederson is 100% fit. Someone said, no, it's not true that the deal is off, it's not true that the deal is not happening, this is Italian speculation, it's not true. That was the reality. Man United decided on Friday that Ederson was no longer joining the club. But while there was this Ederson situation for Manchester United to control, I told you, I respect the club, I respect other journalists who say that is not true, that is not decided, that the Ederson deal is still on and can still happen, but according to my information, the deal is off. I told you for the whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Ederson is not happening. And despite the denials, today, out of nowhere, after 3 days working behind the scenes, Manchester United, with this Ederson story still ongoing on so many media, had the possibility to work in silence on their new top target, Yuri Tielemans. And Yuri Tielemans is done, because Manchester United have an agreement with the Belgian midfielder, Manchester United have an agreement with his agency. There was a change of entourage around Yuri Tielemans a few years ago, and Manchester United have an agreement with the agents of Yuri Tielemans, so all done in terms of contract. I can tell you that Manchester United have booked a medical for the player already early this week, could happen already tomorrow, the first part of the medical, and then it's going to be time for contract signing and announcements. I don't know about announcements because look at Andrei Santos. Andrei Santos signed his contract at Manchester United already 3 days ago. I'm waiting to be announced, but the deal is done. £48 million plus 2 in add-ons to Chelsea for Andrei Santos. The player already signed his contract, valid for 5 years, plus an option to extend, and next will be Yuri Tielemans. Yuri Tielemans said yes to all the contract conditions offered by Manchester United. Yuri Tielemans is excited by the possibility to play at Old Trafford. It was a dream for him to be a Man United player since he was a kid, and so everything is in place. Aston Villa can't do anything. The idea at Aston Villa was to meet with the agents of the player later on and try to discuss a new contract, try to quit the release clause from the contract of Yuri Tielemans, but this is not going to be possible because in terms of timing, because in terms also of decision of the player, when Manchester United arrived with 41 million euros, paid the release clause this morning, the player said immediately yes, there was nothing to do for Aston Villa to try stop the move. And so Manchester United get Yuri Tielemans, Manchester United get Andrei Santos and start their rebuild in midfield. Don't forget that Manu Ugarte cannot be considered as a Man United player for long part of this season because he will be out for many months with an injury. Don't forget that Casemiro left the club. He's going to Inter Miami. It's done. It's a here we go since a long time ago. And so the rebuilding in midfield is starting for Manchester United. Andrei Santos, Yuri Tielemans, Ederson is no longer happening, so 100% confirmed what I told you despite the denials, and now Manchester United are taking shape with their midfield for sure with some big changes. Also, talking about this, we have to add some important piece of information to the story. João Manzambi to Aston Villa is a here we go. Many of you yesterday were asking me why Aston Villa are going to invest such big money in Manzambi. Today you have the answer, because Aston Villa will pay slightly more than 60 million euros for Joan Manzambi to outbid Newcastle to hijack the deal, as I told you. So a big hijack by Aston Villa. Newcastle have already left the conversation, so Manzambi will be a new Aston Villa player, and important to mention the story regarding, of course, Manzambi going to Aston Villa, because this was the start of the domino. Aston Villa signed Manzambi because they knew that Manchester United were coming today in the morning for Yuri Tielemans. Man United, in good relationship with Aston Villa, informed the club about their intention to trigger the release clause at the beginning of the week, and they did that today. And so Aston Villa over the weekend decided to go for Manzambi after very good relationships with United, because they believe that Manzambi is the perfect player to add to their squad. And so this was the story behind this really crazy development. So for Manchester United, it's a big one, because Yuri Tielemans is coming, because Andre Santos is coming, because Ederson is no longer coming, as I always told you. So Manchester United midfield situation is now going to be way more clear than maybe 1 week ago, when they started approaches for Andre Santos, but was not so advanced, and then they closed the deal with Chelsea midweek. And then to close on Yuri Tielemans today, I did a quick mention to Chelsea. Let me mention that Chelsea remain in conversations, Chelsea remain in negotiations for several players behind the scenes. We know the appreciation for Lacroix, and not only, but also let me mention Pep Chavarria, because for Pep Chavarria from Rayo Vallecano, Chelsea remain in contact with Rayo. Talks are taking place, Chelsea, Rayo, about Chavarria, so there is a conversation ongoing for the Spanish left back. The player wants to go to Chelsea, the player has been very clear about that. Rayo Vallecano insists on paying the release clause, but Chelsea are trying to negotiate around that, so there is an active conversation ongoing, Rayo Vallecano and Chelsea, for Pep Chavarria. The player already agreed terms some time ago, and so there is movement around many players, Pep Chavarria, Yuri Tielemans, Andre Santos, I told you about Ederson, so many things happening. Manzambi, Aston Villa will be busy, because there is also interest from Paris Saint-Germain for Lucas Digne, the left back from the French national team, who is starting every game at the World Cup and doing very well. So there is also this possibility for Lucas Digne, and so you can imagine how much movement there is at Aston Villa, also in this case, to try find a replacement. I will tell you more about this also later on, but movements on the market. Many things are happening, as always, guys. I tell you to remember to subscribe to the channel, to be part of the family here on YouTube every single day with all the videos, with all the latest. Let me know your comments. Tielemans to Man United, 41 million euros, release clause. What do you believe about this one? Good signing? Maybe not. And what about also Andre Santos, Ederson? Your opinion, guys, here in comments. Remember to like this video, to turn on the notification bell, to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you soon, here every single day and every time of the day and of the night. Thank you. See you soon. Ciao.